I often think and describe myself as having done okay for a girl from Hayes. Hayes is in the south part of the London borough of Hillingdon. It's often perceived by people as being the poorer, slightly rougher part of the borough. Only recently, I was in a staff meeting at work and they were talking about a social get-together in a local bingo hall. The only problem being for them all was that it was in Hayes. My name's Donna. I'm the oldest of 4 and was born in a council flat on a council estate in Hayes. I was raised by my mum and dad, and my childhood was, I believe, a healthy and happy one. My mum and dad worked really hard to make a good life for us. So although I was born in a working class family, my dad's background was a middle class. But I recently asked him what he saw himself, and without hesitation he said that his heart was that of a working class man. It was, however, his wider family that made me first aware of class. Our family was so different from them. Their homes were bigger, they had more money, they were all educated, and they spoke well. When I became pregnant at the age of 18, I felt a real sense of disapproval from some of my wider family. But it was after the birth of my son Shane that I started to experience a real desire for something more. I was queuing in a post office in Hayes with Shane to collect my weekly benefits, and I was surrounded by lots of mums in a similar situation to me. It was then, in that moment, I just had a real feeling that I wanted something more for myself and Shane. I didn't want to be a single mum from Hayes collecting benefits. It just felt as though I was conforming to a life that would have been expected of me. Please don't think that there was anything wrong with any of these things, but for me at that time, it was a time when I wanted my life to change. I went on to get a job at Hillingdon Hospital, I went to university, I trained to be a nurse, and I got a degree. Interestingly for me, my background or class wasn't something I really thought about until I came to church, but I think coming to church highlighted my differences. I became a Christian here at Crown on an Alpha course 6 years ago. I really loved the services, but always found the time where we would meet before church quite challenging. Everyone was so friendly, always asking about your family. I just wasn't living the life of what I perceived to be a textbook Christian, and our family life had its challenges. So I used to find these times hard. I often felt that I tried to be someone that I wasn't. I would try to have intellectual conversations, I felt I should know more about politics, and I really didn't want to admit to anyone I still watched EastEnders and Coronation Street on TV. I'm quite sure that on an occasion I changed the way I spoke. The question we most frequently ask, me included now, is what do you do? Of course I recognise that this comes from a place of genuine interest, but for some it just isn't important. I've recently made a change to my own job, and I'm currently working 3 days a week, and I earn quarter of my previous salary. But I love what I do. Yeah, I frequently find myself justifying what I'm doing. More often than not, I am always adding in, but I'm still doing some nursing. I recognise that I think that this is a more acceptable job. One of the other many Christianisms, as I now call them, is that everybody seemed to own a slow cooker and would always be inviting people over, and they would be cooking for large groups of people in their homes. I didn't even own a slow cooker, and the idea of cooking for large groups was pretty terrifying. I have to admit now that not only do I love and own my slow cooker, I also cook for large groups of people. I do think that in church we need to have an awareness of social class, and I do believe that our leadership team and those up the front and preaching need to reflect this. I don't believe, however, that we can make an assumption of someone's intellect based on a person's class and whether or not they have a degree. I would never want anyone to pretend to be working or middle class. I'm learning that the easiest and best person that I can be is the one that God created me to be. And that is the only reason why the girl from Hayes did okay.